Hi everyone, this is Avantika and welcome back to another video, another pick a card video. I'm so glad that you've decided to join me today. Today's theme is love reading and it caters to everybody, whether you're single, whether you're in a relationship, or whether there's any romantic situation in your life at the moment. But basically, for those of you who are new here, I would just like to give you a few instructions and then we'll jump right into the video. We will be zooming into the crystals that you see here, and then whichever crystal that you feel the most drawn to, or whichever pile that you feel the most drawn to, please feel free to go ahead and pick that pile. Remember that the messages may or may not resonate, as it's a general reading, so don't stress over it. Take what resonates with a grain of salt and leave the rest. So whichever pile you feel the most drawn to, just go ahead with it and don't overthink this. Just do whatever feels right to you. Whichever crystal that you think is the prettiest is your go-to if you are completely new to this. You are not bound by any advice tarot gives you. Everything you do in life, you have the free will to decide whatever you want to do. You have the free will to really understand what decisions that you want to take. So tarot is not a medium to tell you what to do exactly. It's just here to tell you the areas that you can improve on and what the best possible outcome will be given the actions you're taking currently. So that's all for the introduction, and I'll just zoom in the crystals so that you can decide. So we have pile number 1, pile number 2, 3 and 4, and I'll just be zooming in the crystals so you can quickly decide. So this is pile number 1. This is sunstone. This is pile number 2. This is an amethyst raw cluster. This is pile number 3, fluorite. I don't know if you guys can see it clearly, but this is fluorite. And lastly, we have pile number 4, which is carnelian. The timestamps are linked in the description, so you can directly jump to the timestamps after deciding a pile. So for those of you who chose the sunstone and pile number 1, let's start with your love reading for today. So the way that I have divided this is again similar to the last reading that I did, the last video that I have done. There's going to be tarot advice, and then there's going to be one oracle advice this time. Since the tarot card number is pretty big, it's going to be a little bit of a lengthy reading, probably a little lengthier than the last time, but it's here to give you the best foot forward, to give you the best advice. So let's start. We have the Knight of Wands, Seven of Swords, King of Wands, Five of Wands, and the Ace of Pentacles. So, interpreting this for you, I really feel that there's a lot, for those of you who were drawn to this pile, you have heavy fire placements in your chart, heavy fire placements in your birth chart for sure, due to the presence of a lot of fire element in the cards as well. And I did pick the sunstone for this pile because sunstone is also one of the crystals which is very much and very nicely suited for the fire clan as well. So if any of you were drawn to that as well, it explains a lot. So given a lot of fire placement in your chart, what I can understand is that in the past you either you have been this person, or you have been attracting a certain kind of person into your life who is very very goal oriented, very passionate, very career oriented, very much life of the party type of a person, or very out there, really likes to be charming, really likes to talk to people and things like that, you know, somebody who is very extroverted. I think that's the kind of persona that you feel a little attracted to or feel a little drawn to. Or you may yourself have been that person, you know. And in the present, I do see that you may have been closing yourself off to dating, or you may have been closing yourself off to meeting people, or you just don't feel that motivated enough to go forward, put your best foot forward, things like that. This is something that I'm sensing in a very general way. I do see that, you know, in the future, that you'll probably find somebody who, for those of you who are single, I'd see that you'll probably find somebody who is at a higher authoritative place in their career right now, or somebody who is very, again, the same type of a personality, very passionate, very hardworking, very fiery, and things like that. Although the thing that I'm noticing with this pile is that you guys struggle to be grounded. You guys struggle to really regulate your emotions, regulate your energy. I see that you struggle to stay in the present. I also see that you need to understand how to have a more productive conversation with people, or like, not have a lot of conflicts in your interpersonal relationships as well. I see that this pile may struggle a little bit with dominance and assertiveness. Like, it's not a bad thing, of course, but learning to understand that there needs to be a little bit of regulation in those things really would be sparing you a lot of conflict in relationships or in friendships in general. I see that this pile explains the fire element for sure. Explains the fire element for sure, that you guys are headstrong. That is really great, and that's the kind of personality which not a lot of the general crowd would gel right away with, and that is of course not something for you to worry about. But in relationships or in friendships, you're being asked to be a better listener. You're being asked to understand and listen to understand the other person. You're being asked to accept people and their differences. You're being asked to understand that not everybody is going to think like you, not everybody is going to be like you, not everybody is going to be as passionate as you, or as ambitious as you, and that is okay. Some people like to be a certain way, some people are more passive rather than active, and that's absolutely all right. You don't have to settle for anything that doesn't make you feel good or doesn't match your personality, because you don't have to tone yourself down for anybody, for sure. But the entire concept of compromise does play a role when it comes to healthy relationships. Compromise is something that, not in a negative light, I'm saying this in a positive light. Like, you have to understand the skills of negotiation. You have to understand, okay, if this is 50%, that is 50%, how can we find a middle ground, things like that. You can't just push your opinion on other people all the time. And when it comes to the future, when it comes to advice, when it comes to blockage, what are the blockages that are stopping you from being in the relationship that you want, or having a good love life, or just a good personal life, not a compromised personal life, is that you really need to understand and accept people and their differences. Put your egos aside. There's a lot of ego clash in your relationships, I'm sensing. That is something that definitely can be worked on. And for your advice, the general advice that I'm getting for you is that you really need to work on thinking about things long term. Like, yes, meeting a lot of people, being the life of the party is great, but after a lot of exploration, you also need to understand that, okay, what is it exactly that I'm looking for in a partner? If you are looking to settle down long term, Ace of Pentacles over here tells me that. So my ring light's battery went out, but as I was saying, the presence of Ace of Pentacles over here tells me that you need to think long term when it comes to your love life, when it comes to your interpersonal relationships. You need to ask yourself, okay, is this going to help me grow as a person? Is this going to really not clip my wings, but rather help me polish them and help me fly, help me take off. Are these the type of people I want to surround myself with? You're being asked to steer clear of the drama, you're being asked to stay away from the drama, you're being asked to stay away from people who like to be the drama, like not in a good way, but like in a way that brings your energy down. Do you really want to be a part of some do you really want to be a part of something like that? Do you want to be a part of a group, or let's say a clan, or anything that really brings your vibe down, brings your entire energy down, sucks away the energy from you? That is not something that's long term, right? You need to focus on what is it that you're looking for long term. You need to ask yourself the deeper questions. Okay, where do I see this relationship going, or where do I see this friendship going? Whether it's singles, or whether it's those of you who are in a relationship that are watching this. This can also apply to friendships. It doesn't have to necessarily be romantic relationships. So you need to ask yourself, is this the kind of crowd that I would like to be a part of? Like, no shame, no judgment on anybody. You will meet different people throughout your life, but it's up to you to decide whom do you want to give your energy to, whose circle do you want to be a part of, what values do you want to keep. So really understand and audit yourself whether this is the type of energy I want in my life. Is drama what I want? Is energy drainage what I want? Or do I want to really channel that energy into something long term? Look for people who will help me grow as a person, sow these seeds of longevity, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in a job, or anything like that. It's time for you to really start looking for long term things and people that you can think of being for a longer period of time. Of course, that's not possible just from the get go. Of course, you wouldn't know. So, you're being asked to explore and go deeper with the person. You're being asked to really look for signs, look for values, look for compatibility, and be mindful when it comes to dating. Be mindful when it comes to people. Don't just give anybody your energy. Don't just fall for words. Don't fall for words. Don't fall for the charm. Really think it through and then take action. I also see that maybe if for those of you who are single, I think that you may end up attracting somebody who is belonging to an earth category, preferably. That's what I'm picking up. And lastly, for your oracle advice, the advice that's come up is, just let me show it to you. Expect powerful change. So once you start auditing your beliefs, once you start auditing what is it exactly that I want, what is it exactly that I'm aiming for, once you start getting mindful about the things and the people that you want to keep in life, I see that your dating life will flourish and there will be a lot of powerful change, powerful shifts. Once you start making internal shifts, the world outside changes, right? So be very careful of your energy. Be very careful of who you're giving your time to, who you're giving your energy to. Your energy is not for everyone, right? It's sacred. So protect it. And remember that good relationships are formed when you have the ability to put your foot down and reach a middle ground. So I really hope that this reading was insightful and it helped you. If it did, please let me know in the comment section below, and I'd be more than happy to see that, more than happy to read it. Thank you so much for all your support. For those of you who chose the raw amethyst cluster and the second pile, this is for you. So starting with the tarot advice, which is going to be a pretty lengthy one. So yes, starting with your tarot advice, we have the Seven of Wands, we have the Eight of Pentacles, the Two of Cups, Queen of Wands, and the Chariot. So right off the bat, what I'm understanding is that you have been a little let down in the past when it comes to your relationships. I see that you've not been very lucky. You've not been very lucky in being heard. You've had to probably fight a lot for yourself in the past relationships, like fighting to be heard, fighting to be seen, fighting to stand your ground. Like, there was a lot of defense from both parties, probably, if for those of you who have been in a relationship, or for those of you who are looking for people right now. This applies to everybody, that maybe in the past, whether you're single, whether you're dating, you may have struggled to really put yourself out there, put your point across, communicate effectively. You've had to struggle a lot to be heard in the past, is what I'm picking up on. And the great thing is that you've always stood your ground, and you're being asked to always stand your ground when it comes to being with somebody, or being single, or when it comes to putting forward your non-negotiables, when it comes to solving a conflict. Just put your best foot forward, but also don't get walked all over. You're being asked to protect yourself, you're being asked to defend yourself better, you're being asked to stand up for yourself better in any situation. If there is something that you're looking for in a relationship, be upfront and communicative about it. So that's for the past messages that I'm getting. In presently, I see that all of you are very hard at work in your career, and you're not really looking for love at the moment. For those of you who are already in a relationship, I see that your career is taking up most of your time right now, and things are going pretty balanced. Otherwise, in your relationships as well, I don't see any turmoil as such. I see that I see that you are working hard on something, and that's really good. So you're being asked, for those of you who are in a relationship, I see that you're being asked to put your 100% into the relationship as well. Like, try your best to make it work, since this is a long-term thing for those of you who are in a relationship. And remember, this is a general reading, so it may or may not resonate. You have to take all of these things with a grain of salt. And I really hope that it helps you out in any way possible, even if it's just one advice that you needed to hear. I'm really happy if that is what it does for you. So presently, I see that you are hard at work at something. You're working hard on something, whether it's yourself, whether it's building things for yourself. I see that you're hard at self-love right now, which is a very great thing to see, which is a very good thing to see. You're hard at work right now. Although I do see that in the future, you may end up stumbling across somebody who is willing to fill your cup, and you are willing to fill in their cup. I see that you're a very ambitious and a very hardworking person, and that is something that attracts people closer to you. That is something that will lead people closer to you. You also have a very emotional side that you don't tend to show to a lot of people, but I see that you might as well just stumble across somebody who is also just as emotional as you, just as thoughtful as you, just as hardworking as you, and is willing to fill your cup, and you are willing to fill their cup. That is what I'm seeing for the future. Like, maybe within the next 2 to 3 months, you may stumble across somebody who makes you feel like home, who makes you feel good, who helps you understand the true meaning of things. And I see that when it comes to blockages, being very direct, I see that maybe you struggle to listen, maybe you struggle to come to a fair point, maybe you struggle to accept people as they are, maybe you struggle with a little bit of dominance, which is not an issue, but you have to understand that good relationships are built when you are ready to put your foot down, when you're ready to really like bend a little when it comes to solving things, really understand the concept of finding a middle ground, finding a win-win situation. It's not your way or my way. It's not one person's right, one person's wrong. No, it's about I wouldn't say compromise, but it's about finding the middle ground and making it work with who you are, because you're two different people, you're two different individuals, so there's bound to be conflict, and there's bound to be things that you won't be okay with. But you have to understand that not everybody is going to be like you, not everybody is going to think like you. So you're being asked to let go of the rigidity. There's a little bit of rigidity that's there. You're being asked to let go of that rigidity, which will help for smoother flow of love in your life. You're being asked to also let go of any tough boundaries that you've put up for yourself due to the fear of abandonment, or the fear of rejection, or the fear of being stepped over. When you're being true to yourself, you attract the same kind of tribe as well. So you will come across people who are very loving and caring and beautiful, but for that, you have to let down your walls. You have to work on yourself. You have to release your emotions if you want to attract a person who helps you understand yourself, or helps you with your entire emotional process. Or if I have to put it in the best way, if you want to attract somebody who speaks your language, you have to speak that language first. If you want somebody who's empathetic, you have to be that person first. If you want to attract somebody who has a lot of love in their heart and likes to do things for people, you have to give that love to yourself first. You have to be, the entire thing about right person. You need to focus on being the best partner, or the best person, or the right person, and only then you'll be able to really even attract somebody in your life who shares the same values as you, or the same energies as you. So in order to become something, or in order to want something, you need to become that first. Yes, sorry. In order to be a certain way, you have to start thinking and acting a certain way, right? There's this concept in psychology called neuroplasticity, which talks about the ability of our brains to reform or regenerate the conditioning or the old wiring. So neuroplasticity exists, and you can change your brain's wiring at any given point. You can be the person that you want to be. You're not bound to be or fated to be a certain way. You can always make changes. So for blockages, I think that you struggle a little with rigidity, but that's okay. You struggle a little with dominance, and that's absolutely okay. We all come from different roots, we all come from different places, but I feel that a middle ground can be found. And with the fire element in you, the passion and the vigor, it really is a beautiful thing that you have. And I see that balanced with a lot of hard work that you're already doing attracts the best kind of people towards you. Lastly, for your advice, you're being asked to be determined. If you want a certain kind of a person in your life, or a certain kind of relationship in your life, you really have to work hard for it. Good relationships, good people, they don't just like fall into your lap. You have to work hard. You have to understand. You have to do the inner work. You have to do the hard work. You have to really understand that relationships take time. Good things take time. Relationships take time for getting built. It's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. But if you have the will to make something work, then you will find a way, right? That is pretty much the gist of the advice that I'm getting when it comes to love for you. I really hope that this helps you. Lastly, last piece of information is a fiery climax approaches. So I think there's a lot of fire on this pile as well. I see that a situation related to love possibly could take a different turn, could yield in something that you were not expecting for a long time. Maybe it's a closure that you were expecting for a long time. Maybe it was unfinished business that left you hanging, that left you thinking. Maybe some type of a closure is definitely coming your way. And that's pretty much what I'm getting. Don't worry about it. You have to just remember that in order to make a relationship work, it has to be both ways. It has to flow both ways. There needs to be a synergy. Both of you need to work hard on something. It can't just, of course, you have to work hard to build a relationship, but it also can't always just be you. So make sure that you're putting your effort and energy into yourself, and then also not being afraid of putting these values out there, because those who align with your energy will come forward and give you what you want. So don't stop being who you are. Be that hardworking person. Stand up for yourself. And also be determined to understand that, okay, relationships take time and they take work, but I'm so ready for that work. And also be open and willing to understand and accept other people's perspectives. And by doing all of this, by being true to yourself, by establishing your boundaries, by opening up, by being vulnerable, you will be definitely able to attract somebody or be around people who really fill your cup. I hope that this helps you, and if it does, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! For those of you who chose the fluorite cluster and the third pile, this is for you. So let's get started. So we have the tarot advice first. We have the Hangman, the Four of Cups, the Ace of Cups, Six of Pentacles, and the Moon. Also, this is a general advice. It's not catering to just singles or just the people who are in a relationship, but people as a whole in general, if you need to hear this advice. And for Oracle, we have nothing is yet set in stone. So pile 3, when it comes to love for you, in the past, you may have been trapped in situations which have not had any yield to it, which have not been fruitful when it comes to love. You may have been in situations in the past that reached a stagnancy point, that reached a point of possibly no return, where you were being asked to probably look at it from a different angle. Maybe there were a lot of dead-end situations that you've reached in the past when it comes to love. Things have not truly worked out. They've left you hanging. Literally, they've left you hanging. They've left you on a cliffhanger. They've left you without any closure per se. That's the situation that I'm understanding when it comes to your past. Although in the present, I am seeing that you are not able to really understand what is it that you would like from life. I see that there's a lot of confusion when it comes to your love life presently. Or again, this is a general reading. It may resonate with some people, it may not, but that's absolutely okay. If not this time, it may resonate some next time. This feels like a very specific message. I think this pile struggles with idealistic views on people. I see that you end up expecting a lot from people, and then there's a lot of disappointment when they don't give you what you were expecting, or even if they are giving you something. I see that there's this point of things never being enough, because there's a certain way you would like for things to be, and I'm here to tell you that I'm not saying that you have to change the way you think or anything like that. It's just that maybe right now is not the time for you to narrow down on something. Right now is not the time for you to really pick a person, because you've been there. You've dated a lot of people, or you've like talked to a lot of people, you've been on a lot of dates, but something's just not hitting right, possibly. For those of you who are in a relationship and are listening to this reading, I see that you're struggling a little with perfectionism. Like maybe somebody in front of you or you are trying your best to make something work, or you're trying your best to tell somebody that you love them, but they're just not happy about the way you're presenting yourself, or you are not happy about the way they are presenting themselves or showing their love to you. Maybe there's a mismatch of love languages, which also again needs communication, because there is potential for the both of you to fill each other's cups, but unless and until you talk about it, unless and until you really communicate to your partner that, hey, this is how I would like things to be, things will certainly always be the same, which leads to a lot of resentment ultimately. I do see that in the future there's a very beautiful beginning for all of you in love who are watching, for those of you who are single, for those of you who are in a relationship, anybody really. I see that a lot of beautiful beginnings are coming for you. Ace of Cups is the most beautiful card for love in tarot, and that's what's popped up. So I see that new beginnings in love could come up. For those of you who are in a relationship, maybe a new, more emotionally fulfilling phase could come for you. For those of you who are single, maybe you will come across somebody who really gives you that overflow of love, fills your cup, really understands the entire essence of being in love, something straight out of a rom-com or a fairy tale kind of a romance that you've always wanted. Maybe this will also be a kind of love that will put you closer to whoever is a spiritual person here. Maybe they will push you towards your higher purpose. Maybe this will be the kind of divine love that you've been wanting forever. There's a lot of information that comes in when I'm reading these cards. There's a lot of messages from spirit that get channeled, which may cause me to stutter sometimes, and I'm really sorry for that. But yeah, I do see that in the future a lot of new beginnings are coming for you. A lot of stagnancy is going to wash away. Beautiful new divine beginnings are going to come up. Maybe even if it's not about a specific person, I do see that you will come across a project or a hobby that emotionally fulfills you. Maybe you will finally fill your own cup. Maybe you are also going to reach a path of self-love. I see that there are a lot of themes at play here. When it comes to blockages for you, I do see that you tend to fall for you tend to fall a little for breadcrumbing. Maybe, like, if people, like, you've been a victim probably of breadcrumbing, like it's not enough, but you still somehow accept it. I also see that you are somebody who gives a lot in relationships, like you do a lot for the other person, but somehow you end up feeling depleted because it's not the same, right? It's really not the same as the amount of effort you put in or they put in. I think that there's a struggle of acceptance here which needs a little bit of work, but that's okay. I also see that presence of the moon card, it's asking you to face your emotions more. It's asking you to look after your emotions more. It's asking you to be open and direct with yourself. Don't block your emotions. Be more open, be more vulnerable. Don't keep secrets from yourself. Understand your subconscious beliefs about love. Understand what are the stories that you've been telling yourself about love since you were a child. Things like that are really going to help you out. And remember that you can change you can change your you can change the course of your life at any given point, whether it, even if it's love. Like, if you're not happy with it, you can definitely change it by working on yourself. So I think that's the main message that we are getting here. So this is for pile number 3. If you resonate with this, please let me know in the comments below. Remember that things may or may not resonate. Just take things with a grain of salt, and I'll see you in the next reading. Bye. So for those of you who picked pile number 4 and the carnelian crystal, let's start. So when it comes to your tarot advice, we have the 8 of Cups, we have the Lovers, 3 of Pentacles, also Judgment along with 3 of Pentacles. This is the only pile which had multiple cards popping up for them. We have the 3 of Wands, we have the Hermit and the Star. And for Oracle, we have Emotions Are Running High, which I'll be explaining to you in a bit. So when it comes to pile number 4, I see that in the past you have walked away from something. You've walked away from a person that was very important to you. You've maybe walked away from something that used to emotionally fulfill you a lot. You've made the tough decision to walk away from somebody or something very important in the past. And I see that that pain has lingered a little, but it has also helped you grow a lot. I see that as a person you have grown a lot since that event, since that heartbreak, or since that dark period in your life. It was a tough choice to make, but you have made it and you are now here. You're being asked to make more important choices in your life in the present moment. Presence of the Lovers card doesn't necessarily mean romantic. I think that it was a coincidence it's a coincidence of spirit that it showed up in a love reading. But I do see that right now you are put in a situation with a divine intervention. You're being asked to make important choices. You're being asked to think long term. You're being asked to think rationally before making any choices. If you're confused between 2 opportunities or 2 people, you have to understand that at the end of the day, there is one thing that you can pick and you know the best for yourself. When it comes to love, you're being asked to be vulnerable with the people that you love, be vulnerable with the people that you want to be with. Be vulnerable, don't hold your emotions back. Embrace your emotions with love, embrace your emotions and understand where you're coming from. I see that maybe you will meet somebody in a workplace romantically. For those of you who are in a relationship, you're being asked to be more collaborative in solving your issues together. I also see that the presence of the judgment card, some type of a closure will come to you probably. You're being asked to reflect and introspect a lot. When it comes to your love life, you're being asked to really spend your time alone, whether it's for singles or whether it's for people in relationships. In order to help things around you thrive, you really have to go deep within. You have to think long term. You have to understand, do I want to spend my time with this person? Do I want to invest in this person? Do I want to invest here? Do I want to really be here? Because you can't be in something just for the sake of it, right? Because it takes time, it takes effort, and it takes energy, and you have to be very mindful about who you give your energy to. For those of you who may have felt attracted to pile 1, the readings there is also pretty similar. The reading there is also pretty similar. So I see that you really need to understand that, okay, I want to be with this person and I'm thinking long term. You have to understand the prospects of it. You have to really be mindful when it comes to love, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to dating. You're being asked to water your own garden first. You're being asked to look after yourself and then give into something else and then give into people. Even if you are in a relationship, make sure that you're taking time out to recharge yourself. Taking time out to really be there for yourself and really understand, okay, if I want the relationship to work, I have to look after myself as well. So be mindful in every step that you take. Water your own garden. Focus on your healing. Focus on taking your time off. Focus on healthy boundaries. Focus on healthy space. Focus on collaborative approach. Also focus on understanding, okay, if these are the best steps that you can take right now, whether it's for your future or whether it's for the future of your relationship. You're being asked to make important choices. So if you're stuck between a decision that, okay, this is going to be a long distance relationship, but this job is also important to me, you have to understand and pick the best. You have to understand and put the best foot forward. You have to really listen to your intuition and understand that whatever decision that you take when it comes to your love life, whether you're single, whether you're dating, the universe is going to support you. It's there with you. You're being asked to not take any emotions. Sorry, you're being asked to not take any decisions based from an emotional point of view. You're being asked to consider all options. You're being asked to take some time off in silence and understand, okay, what's the best decision going to be. So I think that this pile is going through some type of decision making, because this is very decision making centric that I see, and it's a very specific message, so it may or may not resonate with a lot of you, and that's okay. You can definitely pick some other pile if that's what you're feeling most drawn to. I have a lot of messages to deliver. A lot of things come channeling through spirit at this point of time. That's why I may stutter a little bit when it comes to interpreting the readings for you, so I'm really sorry with that. I'm really sorry about that. But yes, there's just a lot of input that I have to put out. Anyway, I do see that a lot of presence of like 2 angels here really tells me that this is some kind of a spiritual journey that has begun for you. Even if it comes to love, there's a lot of spiritual journey. There's a lot of spiritual shifts that you're going through at the moment. You're getting to know yourself better. You're getting to know other people better. You're being asked to spend time with yourself. You're being asked to pluck out the wounds of the past and work on yourself. You're being asked to collaborate, to connect, to really be there for yourself before anything or anybody else. You're being asked to understand the concept of taking care of yourself, to take care of the relationship, to take care of things around you. Start with taking care of yourself and everything else will take care of itself, is the main message that I'm getting here. If you're confused between career and a person and both of them are important, you have to take that stand for yourself and understand that a good partner will always support your decision. And it's absolutely okay if you're not okay with the things like long distance. Be sure to be communicative about it, because things can be solved, things can be brought to middle ground, and it's also okay if you part ways with that. That's absolutely okay, but make sure that you're telling your loved one that, hey, this is not working out for me, or this is not going to work for me. Because this is a very choice centric spread that I'm seeing, that this people of this pile right now have a choice to make and they are struggling with something, struggling to make a choice. Your answer is that whatever choice you do take, whatever choice you do make, you will be supported. So whether you choose to be with this person, or whether you choose to date that person, whether you choose to continue a relationship with anybody that you are with, for all of you, for singles, for people who are in relationships, any decision that you take at this moment in time will be looked after, will be sought for by the universe. It's not going to alter anything. It's not going to really, it's not a live or die situation. It's okay. You can take any decision that you feel is best by considering all factors, of course. And I think this is the lengthiest pile of them all, but the last interpretation that I have is emotions are running high, which is the supermoon card from the oracle, which means that don't take any decision based on your emotions. Make sure to think it through, make sure to talk about it. But I do see that this is a very spiritual time in your life. These are very spiritual shifts, spiritual awakenings, because there's so many major arcanas we have in this card, in this spread. We have the Lovers, we have the Judgment, we have Hermit and the Star. So this is really all about personal development. This is really about working on yourself. And don't get me wrong, you can be in a relationship and be the best person ever. You don't have to always just focus on yourself, That's not the kind of message that I'm putting out here. But the main thing is that make sure that the choices you're making serve you for your highest good, and make sure they're in alignment with what you want. Overall, this is a very general advice, but I really hope that this helps you out. I think there's a lot of specific advice on this pile, so it may or may not resonate for those of you who picked it. But please let me know in the comments below if it did resonate with you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I really hope that you enjoyed this reading. If you did, let me know in the comments below, and I'm eagerly looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and bye!